Well, hello again, everyone. This is Ted Schmidt with Action Coach Northwest, and this is another edition of our Business Spotlight podcast. And our guest today is Jorge Bañuelos, CEO and co-founder of Rem. So welcome, Jorge. It's great to have you as a guest today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can't wait to hear your insights and some words of wisdom from you today. So we're going to jump right into the questions and let you go ahead here. So question number
Yeah,
one,
let's do it.
if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I'd say, we've always been big believers in relentlessly iterating with our initial idea, but I'd say even with that principle in our foundation, I I think we could have done with even more direct sort of feedback and validation from customers before investing in a particular development direction, especially given the cost of switching. I'd say on top of that, while it's important to be focused on that initial product scope, it's important to be almost surgical with what you're building in that initial go to market based on a lot of that early validation to avoid a lot of the rework and sort of restart and reset that goes involved with not really going through all those extensive customer interviews. But I'd say like even more broadly, getting a set of coaches or mentors or industry experts that serve as a sounding board, both for the struggles of building a business, but also uh, in the area that you're building in, that they can see if you're the direction you're heading in has legs, is sort of invaluable and something that we've been really lucky to build over time, but could have used from day one.
Excellent. Well, that's music to my ears. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it when everybody's pro coaching, right? Yeah, there you go. Okay, next question. Here we go. What have your biggest learnings been as an employer since you began in business?
Yeah, I'd say maybe there's the obvious side of it, which I saw with my father growing up when he built out his own landscaping business, which is that it's about building a really strong culture and really building a team of A players. But it's not just individuals who are highly skilled, but those that you feel personally comfortable with having a debate and disagreement with, and that will eventually set you in the right direction and kind of keep you honest. But I'd say more on the operational side, building or engineering a scalable client success system early on is something that is going to be really, really important and wish we'd done it a little bit earlier. When you're getting started, you're kind of just taping things together and as they work. And once you
Yeah.
find a foothold in the market, things start to scale really, really nicely. And then you have a problem of how do I keep up with the scale? And then at that point, it's almost too late to go back and build out that client success, client experience process. And it's that, maybe it's worth taking a pause before really, really starting to scale and getting that foothold to build out and understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Good advice there. I love it. Okay. What are some common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
Yeah, I'd say two that I've encountered. I'd say that one, the initial vision is not as important as basically your ability to adapt to what you're learning from. I think the initial vision is an important sort of motivator to like take the jump and be an entrepreneur and build a business, but it shouldn't necessarily be set in stone. I think like the folks that I've seen most successful in the market are those that can learn quickly and make smart changes and sort of adapt to the market environment. And I'd say the other thing is like, uh, early viral growth can be a bit misleading in that it's not necessarily sustainable, but it's also not necessarily indicative of a very, very large market. So you kind of have to be thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead of, is this the direction of viral growth that I want to go in? Or is it worth it to slow down a little bit and try to capture a larger piece of the market?
I love that. I'm taking notes here, taking notes. Vision, I love that. Vision is not the initial vision isn't as important as being able your ability to learn and change. So yeah, that's great. Okay. What do you attribute your growth to?
Yeah, I'd say sort of going back to it is being really receptive and listening to customers' pain points and what they're sort of, you're pitching an idea, you're pitching a product initially, but throughout
Right,
that relationship, you're gaining more and more insight into their day to day, and basically asking questions around, hey, how can I help alleviate some of these biggest pain points or blockers to your growth, right? And
right.
then if you're helping them grow and you're helping them be more operationally efficient or even helping them establish a better health like work-life balance, that's going to really be a big pain pill that lets you enter into the market successfully. Um, I'd say on top of that, it's really solving problems in a sort of technological first direction. At least maybe that's based more on my own background coming from the tech field, but
Right, right.
uh, it it allows you to really scale customer support, like resilient processes early on.
Okay. Excellent. Interesting. Interesting. Loving it. Okay. Question number 5. We're sailing along here. Wow. Okay. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, I think it's just being disciplined around blocking off your calendar and prioritizing what's important to you and to your family. I've got 3 kids, so I make sure that I'm spending basically the entirety of the evenings work like just with them, and whether it's helping with homework or taking them to games, that's
Right.
a big recharge for me, and it allows me to return the next day with mental clarity, or that evening with mental clarity. I find that no one really misses you after 11 and before 6 a.m. So that's also a good time to take some of the more of the administrivia on.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I get a lot of different answers on that one. It's a hard one, but it's kind of like being an entrepreneur is a lifestyle really. So you have to figure out how to balance the lifestyle with the demands of the business, plus having a family and all that. So okay,
Yeah, I mean, something that I found that was really helpful, at least, being the child of an entrepreneur, but then also having children myself, is like uh, if kids want to be involved or help out or just like even listen in on calls, it's actually a good, it's a good way to teach them some of the business skills, but then uh, also spending time together and makes maybe it's blurring the line a little bit between work and life, but I find it's in a good way.
yeah, that's great advice. Nobody has said that yet. Well, that's
Yeah.
great advice. I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. You've already addressed this a little bit, but what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Yeah, as far as qualities, it's really folks that are self-starters and that are strongly opinionated. I'd say with that goes high energy. Those are the things that I'm really looking for. Um, there's several ways to structure the hiring process to be able to identify self-starters. I think the easiest and way to do that is to start someone off on the contract or part-time side and really evaluate if you want to give a portion of your business or equity away to them. But I think it's particularly important that once you identify those traits, that they feel ownership in the business beyond sort of the salary, and that's been part of our philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes the passion and willingness to disagree. uh, I'd say as far as fostering the culture, I think it's self-fulfilling, and especially like for a smaller business like ours, your first few hires are really going to set the tone for that, and it'll create a flywheel effect from those first few hires, and getting those right it's gonna set the course for the rest of the company.
Right. Does set the tone, doesn't it? Right.
Mhm.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
say I think there was one more question there around sort of making sure that they're happy and that there's good work-life balance. For I think there is just primarily leading by example. I think you can pay as much lip service as you want to, hey, after hours, if I message you, don't worry about it, right? But it's more about, you know, make sure that you schedule your messages to go out at certain times. If it's urgent, obviously, go ahead and send the message or make the phone call, but otherwise don't you know lead by example has been my experience as far as like making sure people are taking the time they need.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that too. You send something to them, and you tell them don't bother to respond till Monday, but
Yeah.
It's Saturday afternoon and they're, yeah, it happens. So, okay. What question should I be asking you that I haven't?
Yeah, that's a good one. I hadn't thought of an answer to that one. Uh, yeah, I guess a lot of my perspective and advice is coming more from starting from like a venture-backed kind of side of the business. I don't know if there's some things that have been highlighted here today that you'd say, you know what, this actually doesn't apply. So maybe I'll answer your question with a question. What are some of the discrepancies that you've seen between sort of more venture-backed business versus targeted small medium business?
Well, venture backed, typically you have the capital that you need. Where a lot of small businesses start out and they don't have enough capital. They are undercapitalized and they try to do everything without budget for it. And they try to do everything themselves. And that can create a kind of a downward spiral. And they're struggling with cash flow. So they can get into some difficult situations early on because they didn't understand that you've got to have a certain amount of runway in the way of cash flow and in resources because it's going to take a while to ramp up and start having some sales, And so
Hmm.
I think people underestimate how much that is going to need to be. And I think I see a lot of that where if you're
Hmm.
venture backed, you got investors looking at it and you got venture capital involved, you can kind of assess that better. And they can, the investors can help you assess that. So to make sure that you do have enough to get to that, critical mass where you start making cash flow, free cash flow. So that would be my
Hmm.
response to your question. So
Yeah, I think even with venture backed, you kind of have to budget for more than you think. I think there's always
yeah,
there's always
yeah, yeah,
surprises always go in only one direction, I think, with
yeah,
budgeting.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's always true. It always takes more. It always takes longer, and it
Mhm.
always costs more than you think. Those are two
Exactly.
things that are pretty much a given. So, all right, boy, we are sailing through. All right, last question. Believe it or not, we're there. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
Yeah, I'd say in 5 years, obviously we'd want to have 30 times the number of customers. Uh, Really, we're currently working primarily with health insurance agencies on their commission management needs, but we're looking to
Mhm.
expand to life and to property and casualty. And with that, really, it means that we're going to have to expand our domain of expertise, right? And so it's going to be bringing in some of those core folks that really have the understanding of the industry, but also sort of exhibit some of those traits and can build out those pillars of our business.
Mhm.
Um, as far as advice for folks looking to grow their business or who are starting their business, uh, I'd say like maybe repeating myself a little bit here, but really find either a business partner that you, I guess, are close to, but feel really comfortable with, and you feel is providing a very unique and distinct perspective from yours, right? And
Mhm.
or find early customers that are willing to give you some of that critical feedback, but also are well networked to help you grow your business once you build a product that they're happy with. I'd say part of finding that initial customer is just finding a pain point that they have that they're willing to sort of pay the tax of working with a non-mature service or product.
Right. Right. And well, that feedback is so critical. I mean, it can tell you so much, and
Hmm.
you're hearing, listening to your customers. So awesome. Well done. Very concise. Got through. That's awesome. Some great advice, some great insights. Had a couple things there that I have not heard before, so that was awesome. So I want to thank Jorge Bañuelos. Did I get that pretty close? Bañuelos?
Yeah, that's
Pretty
pretty
close.
close. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
CEO and founder of Rem. Thank you for being our guest today. And everybody, have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.